Hello and welcome to Monday Club. Now, today, let down again. All these letdowns. So we put the bat signal up and got let down again. So we called in the librarian. This is what I call him now, the librarian. Gary Hayers of EFIXX fame and GSH body of work unrivaled by anyone ever.
Yeah, that's true. I'd go for that.
Well,
yeah,
because I said it, but you know. So welcome, Gary. Welcome to the Monday Club.
Well, being an avid listener, stroke watcher of the Monday Club, I was chuffed to bits to be called in at the last minute, final substitution to come in and do this. So hopefully we're going to have a blast, and I really enjoy listening to them. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like to be involved in one, Sam. So thank you for asking me.
No problem, mate. Mark, why are you at college?
I'm at college because I need to learn and improve my skills. I realised the other day picking a screwdriver up the wrong way around, I could do with a few tips from Gary, actually. So I've come to college tonight and I'm going to get a bit of practice in, make sure I know what I'm doing.
Where is that, though?
That's my office, mate. I'm here because it's my 40th birthday tomorrow and I have been banned from my shed because I believe my small and annoying family are doing some party celebrations. They're probably doing nothing and they're just going to laugh at me tomorrow for making me come to work and sit in the cold. But that's the story. So I'm here and they're blowing balloons up, hopefully.
So you're 40.
Nice.
Have you had a hard life, Mark? Because I thought you was at least 45, 46.
Yeah, cheers, mate. I mean, what can I say?
Look at Nick. Nick's like in a perpetual state of triggeredness.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not. I'm
No?
just saying. Well, how old are you, Sam?
38.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tough paper
Fat
round
don't
two,
crack,
then, yeah.
bitches.
Fat don't crack.
It doesn't.
Tough
Listen,
paper.
never seen a wrinkled balloon, have you?
Yeah, when they start deflating a bit.
Well, I'm not deflating. I'm only getting fatter. So what do you
Magic.
want to know? Outside of this nonsense, what have you been up to this week, Nico?
Are you going to ask me?
I'm going to ask you.
Oh, Mark, he asked me for once. Oh,
He's
that's lovely.
you made up. That's brilliant.
Ah.
How kind of him.
I don't really have anything to say. What have we been doing last week?
Tell people what
EICRs.
you've been doing today. This is the life of Bundy. Go on.
So it's Monday, so I've been to my unit and I'm waiting for a special item I ordered to turn up. So that's going to be next week. So today I did manage to film a video in the end. But what I did, I got my blowtorch out and I burnt all the scaffold boards I put in there to make them look nice. It looks wicked. But yeah.
But honestly, who's got time in their day? Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and burn some wood. And last week it was making ingots, and now this week it's burning wood.
Well, next week is better. So better. Sorry, I get told off because my mum watches this as well. Believe it or not.
What?
Yeah.
Is your mum fit?
I had to be careful, Sam. Careful.
Figured.
I had to tell her to stop the other week because she commented on one of my videos, which is fine. Like she watches it and I'm over the moon with it. But obviously her name is Helen Bundy in her YouTube name. And then she commented something because I made a reference. I was talking to Adam and I said, oh, I better say that better because I said better. I said, my mom will tell me off. And she commented saying, that's better, Nick. Better. And I was like, but then people started commenting on her thing going, oh, are you Nick's mom? I was like, Mom, delete it. Don't do that. But what I've ordered, it's a leaf out of John Ward's book. So, when he was in his garden and he pumped 100 amps through a cable to see the connection blocks melt in of the cable. So I'm going to do the same thing. So I've ordered a welder. I'm just going to try and do it inside in an environment. I've got a thermal imaging camera. I've got obviously my earth clamp meter to measure the ampage. And obviously I've got an extraction unit now. So I'm going to try and do it with the different cables. So normal cable, PVC, flex, and then I'm going to go the LSF, is it? The low smoke one. So there's loads of ideas floating around. So as soon as that turns up, I can make another set of like 4 or 5 videos out of it. So that will hopefully be useful for everyone. And then test PVC clips to metal clips for how much it drops with temperature after time and all that sort of stuff. So try and do some stuff where people can learn and you can go, the regs are showing we need to fit metal clips for a reason. This is why. It's that sort of thing. So yeah.
Riveting.
Shut up, Sam.
Triggered.
It is. I think that'll be really interesting because it will demonstrate why we do all this stuff. We don't get to see stuff catching on fire usually. We're turning up afterwards or before the event, so it'll be nice to see what happens.
Yeah. Either that or you'll see me hospital next week having a lung transplant. Nick's not here this Monday Club. Yeah, he's not very well. But yeah, other than that, last week we've been EICR in it, Fuse Board. Adam's obviously been recording on his own YouTube channel now.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
So,
how annoying.
Obviously, yeah. Do you know how many people have said, like, and like Sam said today on the phone, he is so lucky to have me, but equally, I am so lucky to have an apprentice like him because he's made me be better because the way, anyway, I'm not going to go into that. That's for a different time, but he started his own channel up. He was speaking about it and his mom and dad and his grandparents and was like, you've got a good platform already. Jump on the boat. Why not? And because he's been every now and then when I'm recording my GoPro's here, like I'll happily be doing something, recording, doing whatever, and then I'll go, oh, Adam, and I'll pretty much just throw it and go, oh, just go and do what you need to do with your bit. And watching the progression, because there's a few times where we've done this on my videos and I've had to just get rid of the footage because what he said was nonsense. And he knew that afterwards, but it was too late to because I already hadn't seen what he'd recorded until I got home once the job was completed. But with time and time with him learning this is the next thing where he's getting it. Because at the moment, when he films, the GoPro sits here, he looks down at it, and gradually over the videos, his GoPro is going up and up and up to the point where you want to be looking up with your chin raised a bit. And I've always said it's a perception thing with YouTube. Now, I read this ages ago. You want your viewers to look down on you, not in a sense of they're bigger than you, but you're speaking up to them, you're explaining things correctly. If you're doing this, it looks like you're speaking down on them, like you're better than them. In a way, psychologically, it improves the viewer's mindset of watching you and how you interact with them, sort of thing. And like I say, you talk to the GoPro like it's them, not like it's a GoPro. You say, I'm just going to put you guys down for a minute, and you put them on the tripod, rather than I'm just going to put the camera down. Because you want the viewers to think that when they're sat watching you, you're speaking to them directly as the camera rather than an object, for well knowing they're watching after. And it's just trying to put things like that forward to Adam, and the videos are getting better. And then his video recently, he came around one day and said, Nick, I want to put some downlights in my bathroom because it's a new build. It's just got a 2D fit in. Yeah, they are. Gave him the keys to the unit, pinched all my stuff out the van, went there, picked it all up, and took the GoPro, come back with this footage. And I was sat here so proud of him once I'd edited it and just looked at him. I thought, mate, that is brilliant. The way he spoke, the way he did the job, the way he explained himself clearly. The only downside, he wore sliders in the bloody loft. So yeah, over the moon with him, and it's just going from strength to strength. His first video's got, I think, 30,000 views now, and the one went out the other day has got 20,000. It's incredible. It's
incredible. Wow. Like, and we were talking about this earlier on, and I know you don't like talking about this, but the reality is, could it be the greatest apprenticeship of all time? I mean, he has got every tool, top brand tools. He's got to learn from Nick. All right, Nick's not the best electrician in the world. He's a bit ropey.
No, I wouldn't claim to be, genuinely. There's people better than me, but I like to know that I have pride in my work, which helps.
Nick, you're so serious today.
No, I'm trying to be formal.
Be formal, because we've got Gary, the librarian.
No, listening.
No, but what I'm saying is he is sport rotten with the apprenticeship he's got. I think it's fantastic. I think you should be very proud of what you've done there, mate. If I'm going to blow smoke up your ass instead of triggering you all day tonight, what I will say is you've took someone on with you. You've really give them everything that you've got the same way, and then now you've given her a platform to also do YouTube stuff. It's amazing stuff, mate. Honestly, you should be very proud of yourself. And I've met Adam, although he stinks. He doesn't really. He
doesn't. He smells really nice.
he did actually smell.
Don't.
But he. you can tell he's so genuinely interested in being a spark. And I find that quite a rarity in people. He like, this is him. This is his thing now. This is him. He's off. He's a spark. That's him. And he's comfortable with that. He's happy with it. And, you know, he'll go far because he's got a passion for it. Yeah. It's a nice thing. Gary, you must have seen that a few times in your time at college.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you almost know, you know, when you meet them first time. I mean, it's a cliche, and you make that judgment call. I'm very rarely wrong in 19 years of teaching. I always like to be surprised. I always like the one that you think you come out the pack and, wow, you really went and did it. But that first couple of weeks, even the first lesson, you can pick people out and you go, they're going to go somewhere, they're going to need a bit more work, and maybe somebody else is on a journey that won't end up in the electrical industry, but you can certainly improve their timekeeping, their attitude, their relationship with other people within the group, and team building, all sorts of things like that. But yeah, I always like to be surprised, but you pretty much know the people you're getting from induction virtually. So that's what I would say. And when I spoke to Adam, you knew he was a great lad. It was really nice. My students stood around him, listening to him chat and all the rest of it. We had some good times.
A year ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
So begrudgingly, go and check out his YouTube channel. Not that he needs our help.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he needs my help much longer, to be honest. He said to me the other day, he goes, 6 weeks, Nick. 6 weeks, I'll have 40k subs.
Imagine if one day, like maybe in like six months to a year, he's actually your master on YouTube. How would you feel by that? Don't say proud, because you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't.
Wait, but what about this though? What about this though? He's already more popular than your Sparks Fly podcast.
It's not. We checked earlier.
Not far off, mate.
Not far off. Not far off.
And I bet he's had more views than you have.
Probably now, yeah.
How do you feel that he's launched a channel, you launched a channel pretty much at the same time, and he's doing you bad?
I'm just really proud of him.
No, you're not.
No, I am over the moon. It's like you say, it's different stuff. And like tomorrow, we're changing the fuse board for a subscriber, and he lives around the corner actually. And before I even had the chance to say it, I said, when we're doing it, and I said, I'm recording tomorrow. We bought the stuff, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, can you just charge the GoPro? Because I want to do an apprentice tips one where I'm going to change the board. It's a bit of a faffy one, and we want to get in and out as quickly as possible. And he said, give us the GoPro. And what I'm going to do with my video is I'm going to record myself as the apprentice, watching his boss do it, but equally telling the guys, right, you can see that, well, he's going to need this next. Let's go and get this out of the van. Let's get the stuff prepped up. Let's get the RCBO set up. Let's get the glands open, prep the stuff out that we need. Any rubbish that's getting dropped, we'll put it tight. Like he just said, we're going to do stuff where as an apprentice that wants to watch, that needs to foresee what's going to happen next, prep yourself. And I said, Jesus Christ, Adam. And he was like, yeah, no, I was just thinking about it the other day. I was like,
do you know what?
About it.
That's such an important thing. You know, like apprentices tend to go straight to their default mode, which is get their phone out. You know, and it's brutal to have like that mindset where he's already thinking like that. You know, I've only really seen that in you know, like your more mature apprentices, like your, you know, someone who's grateful to learn from you will make that extra effort. A lot of the time, 17, 18-year-olds, they're like, oh, look at this bird on Instagram or something, you know, and me, because I'm basically a man child, I'm like, oh yeah, and we never get anything done. So, you know,
he's never been that way, to be fair. He's had his phone out every now and then, and I mean, talking like when I'm on my phone way more than him, because my phone rings all day, or
usually to me,
YouTube, or because someone never leaves me alone. But I could count on one hand how many times he's got it out when I've looked at him and gone, why on your phone? And he's just gone, I've just taken a picture of the wiring. I just wanted to make sure it was all right. And they're like, oh, thank you, Adam. He's a superstar. Anyway, Mark, how are you?
10 minutes talking about Adam Dunlop.
He deserves every 10 minutes.
Get a better surname.
My surname's Bundy. He's got a better surname than me.
Oh God, Dunlop and Bundy. That sounds like two idiots.
It's a murderous trainer.
That's ridiculous. Gary, What have you been up to this week, my man? last week?
Obviously producing content. We did one that Nick might be interested in on something called flexible conduit. We've done a video on that that's due to come out. Yeah, I know.
Dare address the Copex King with such disrespect.
I'm waiting for my t-shirt. What else have we done? Yeah. Did some stuff with app-based stuff, which I'm not a big fan of apps, so I'm the ultimate skeptic on the apps. So
I have to say, Gary, I watched the video on that that new cable that you put in for the EV chargers. That looked amazing. They're the flat stuff.
Oh yeah, from IDAX, brilliant.
Yeah,
but of course, people then go on and say, well, every single EV charging point needs a fuse. How can you get away with having the main fuse? Well, they don't understand the full system. There is a reg. Joe did a Q&A on it. I don't know if they've released that yet. So there is an answer to that. But that system's so clever that you can have 101 easy EV charging points on it. They know the size of the breaker. And as a collective, they will never exceed that breaker rated value. So it's where it's going. It's just, I think people are obsessed with filling their car up with some sort of petroleum-based liquid and then knowing they've got 500 miles, whereas the EV revolution is going to require you to be a little bit more planning your journey and obviously understanding where you can and can't, obviously, fill it up, in other words. So, it's not going to be one of those things.
I thought it was fascinating seeing how you cut the cable. Like you say, you can do it with a Stanley knife. Obviously, you said, I didn't think you showed, I had a proper tool, but in the video, I don't think you showed it. But how that could be used in commercial wiring in general, of tapping off, down, and because it's just literally, Sam, it's just flat cable like this, and you put a clamp on it, and you just screw the individual terminals, and it just presses into the cable.
Oh, okay.
It was really cool.
That's a lot like how you tap into power supply illegally on the.
Yeah. So what they use it on the continent for is they run it down sort of centre of corridors and then just tee off to each consumer unit in each of the dwellings, the flats or etc. So use it and on ships because obviously it's flexible. So it's obviously got that ability as well. It's more than, I think they've probably developed it to sit within the EV market, but it's been used in other applications from IDAX for a long while. It's good stuff.
I've never seen it before.
The company that make the cable is IDAX, and the company that it partners with for the EV chargers is Easy. Clever chargers, they are really good. So that was one of the things. So look out for my flexible conduit video when that came. Did anyone watch my video about the Bell transformer and the cable in there?
No, not yet.
I recommend the three of you watch that afterwards, even if you only watch the first 25 seconds. I suggest a new
homework.
No, you'll smile. No, you'll smile. You'll smile. You'll go, oh, one of those. So that'll be worth just having the first 25 seconds on that. And I've been doing family stuff today and tomorrow. So we went, this is nice linking for Nick. We actually thanked you today, Nick. And we were at Open Bionics and the gentleman brought out, we've gone again. So that's the third time I've been. They brought out the hero arm to show my wife this time, as well as me and my daughter. And then he brought out the coloured skins that I said, do you remember you can change that? And and he went, oh, you get this with it. And I said, well, she wants these other ones as well. She said, well, you just get the one with it. I said, no. Mr. Bundy's bought a set of those. And then there's a Dr. Chris Horn that's bought a set as well. So she's actually chose 3 for when she does get it. But she's a long way off having one, unfortunately.
That's so cool.
It's so cool. Like the arm is something else. It's exciting times in terms of the ability to go and buy something like that. Well, it's like we are living in the future now, aren't we?
Yeah.
I
think there's still a long way to go, but from what it was like even 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. It's like living in the future.
We're actually doing that tomorrow. We go to see the NHS, who will give you something that is a solid construction. So in other words, a polymer, maybe just a solid hook or whatever. So 2 different worlds that we're going to be gone to in the space of 2 days, really. So anyone who's listening to this, sorry.
Are you documenting it?
What, video wise?
Yeah.
I took a few clips for social media today at Open Bionics because they're a very upwardly mobile brand, and obviously they know the power of social media, so they love to share stuff. I would imagine the NHS won't want me to take too many pictures when I'm with them. So I've got the COVID restrictions and all that to get over first before I start trying to grab my camera. And it looks then you're not interested in what they're saying, doesn't it? So, so the people who listen to it, my daughter unfortunately lost a predominant arm from about a forearm down in a tragic accident, and we're currently pursuing a prosthetic mobile limb, which is from a company called Open Bionics, and it's called the Hero Arm. And a lot of people that followed me on social media have helped us get to a position where we can afford to do that. So that's a massive thanks to everyone that has helped and supported and commented and sent chocolates and sent lovely messages, all of them above. So thank you for that.
Powerful stuff, man. I'm so glad that you know you got the support you did, because I really think you deserve it, mate. Like, you're a good guy. But before we get Gary too emotional, Marco, what the hell are you doing? Just sitting there looking like D'Artagnan, right, with your goatee.
D'Artagnan. Oh, he's a musketeer, isn't he?
Yeah, bro.
See, I've watched that. Man behind the iron mask
now.
D'Artagnan,
I've just been listening to you guys, enjoying your chat. I mean, I feel like I'm in the presence of YouTube stars, and you're here as well, Sam. So it's really nice to chat. You know, just listening to everyone chatting. It's nice, and repeating what you say with regards to Gary and his daughter. It's inspiring to see her recovering in the way that she is, and all of the help that's been given to Gary and his family is well deserved. And you know, hopefully that arm can be available to her sooner rather than later. That'd be nice to see. I'm sure that she's itching to get there as well. But yeah, otherwise, in my normal day-to-day life, we had a few podcasts out last week. Sam helped with one, the most boring one, if we're going to be totally honest. There was 3 other more interesting ones. Sam's was really good, actually. And
well, is what I do.
We gave away some stuff that had been kindly donated just to try and do something fun for National Apprenticeship Week. So I was pleased to do all of that, and I did a little live stream tonight that no one watched, but it doesn't matter because the people who won were watching, and they were chuffed to get those things. So that was something nice to be part of. And yeah, otherwise just doing EICRs like Nick in the day job. That seems to be all that's going on at the minute. More and more EICRs every single day of my life, forever, until maybe April the 1st.
Well, I think it's going to go on till, I think you're going to get the people that go, oh, it's April 1st, I've not got it done. And then I think we're going to have a more of a massive surge April, and then come end of May, we're going to go, right, we're done with that for 5 years now.
I've got a question about these EICRs.
Oh, go on then.
Do you set your own price, or do you take a price from the people you're getting them from? So they're like, listen, I'm paying 150, you can take it or leave it.
So if it's the estate agents, I was negotiated and I went for a lot lower than I normally would personally, privately, sorry, but I've probably had within the past 6 months and then up to April over 100 EICRs through them. So I do them cheaper. It's a discounted rate, and that's that. But with myself, if it's privately, I have my set price. If they don't like it, then don't do it. That's it. I'll happily knock 10 quid off, you know, and then add it on afterwards for remedials. It's fine. But yeah, it's a set price and that's it.
Marco?
We discount to anyone. We work with a few letting agents. It's all priced based on the length of time it takes to do the job. So there's a letting agent we're working with at the minute, and you know, there's no real agreement on price based on the size of the property. The trust is there that we charge accordingly. I did have someone ring me up actually today asking if I could cover a job for them in Filey because their electrician had to isolate because of coronavirus. But they only had £130 available for it, and they wanted it doing by Thursday. So I was just like, well, yeah, you might need to keep on phoning because that's not going to work. But that's so common. I mean, you'll find people doing it for less than that. If if we're going to be really honest, that is going on all of the time. And you know, when it's set up when it's set up as a business model, and they're kind of doing it properly, and that's how they want to run their business and build it on remedials, and there's no, you know, that's fair enough. But when it's just done from the van and they're not really doing the job properly, that is really annoying.
Yeah, because I mean, if you had 100% guarantee you're going to get the remedials, then perhaps that's a fair enough, isn't it? to do the EICR, because you're sort of it's almost like quoting your own work, but there's no guarantees in life, is there?
But my problem is with the people, and this is not everyone, but the people that I've come across or heard about is the people that are doing these £65, £75 EICRs. They're not actually looking like I would and Mark would. We're doing an EICR. We actively look for what we can code, what we think is not right, what was unsafe, is not, things that we like. They would seek out something that they know they could go, right, there's 200 quid. Oh, it's a wooden back fuse board. C1 needs a metal fuse board. It doesn't. But the problem is they're only going to the regs that they pick and choose, not all of the regs. And this is what annoys me, is they'll go in cheap to get their foot in the door and go, bang, right, okay, this is it. And that's how they make the money. And that's not everyone. I'm not like tarring everyone with it, but the people that I've heard about, the cheaper ones, is their business model is just to go in and then to change their fuse board.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating, because I could go in there and do the same EICR, which will cost twice as much, but then there'll be no remedial works. But unfortunately, they've gone for the cheaper person for the time being. But if they'd gone the right way, my way, I could have passed that property off, given it a satisfactory report for 5 years at least, and there would have been no remedials. Let's say if that was the situation with the fuse board. But that's it. People just see the price tag straight away and stick their nose up at it. Not everyone, but a lot of people.
It is a hard sell, definitely.
Gary, I want to know more about what, like, you're on here. We very rarely get to interview you. Very, like, you do your EFIXX stuff, you do your GSH stuff, which is all in the bag now, if we're honest. You're releasing videos that you've got in the bag, which is,
So I still try and produce one GSH electrical video every single week. So I've been doing that quietly. So if you're looking at stuff that I've been releasing, like wiring diagrams, which was lucky that I never done them before, I can sit in my wife's school, nobody there on a Saturday, and just sit there and draw those out. And what I use is my Facebook page, like a free version of Patreon. So if you're following me on my Facebook page, when I've shot a video, I just put it on there, and just with an unlisted link. So all the people that are following me on Facebook can watch it. So they don't realize actually they've got like a free version of Patreon. So the 50 odd videos I've got, 56, I think, to release, they've probably seen 30 of them in advance, well in advance.
Wow.
Just stick them on there, just so people, because if you follow me on Instagram, you get a certain look at me. If you follow me on Facebook, I feel that you sort of get, people are thinking, oh, he's always putting videos on there, but they're not released. They probably don't even realize. I don't ever say this has not been released yet. You're getting a free view of it, so I'll do that.
So you've still got the teacher inside you. You still have the passion for that knowledge and putting it out there.
I still say that my class, when you're doing this, you'll have to use a ruler. My class, when we're in the workshop, we'll be looking at this in the workshop. We're doing that. So I still address them as my learners, because obviously there's people out there. I've released a video privately that was my last walking out the workshop. I cried, actually. I gave an emotional speech. I turned around, I walked down the corridor, and my T-shirt changed from GSH Electrical in the fade through to a red one as I left, and the EFIXX roll came at the end. I shot that well over 12 months ago. I released that privately to my community. That had 2,000 views and like 197 likes, 1 dislike, of course. But yeah, so I thought that was quite nice. So those people now know I've left, but I still get people that think I still work there. And then when, like, the lad, the deaf lad that contacted me just the other week, and then he finds out I don't work there anymore, and you think, I'm sorry, I've not made it massively public because I didn't want to kick my channel in the shin. But I've only left Tresham. I haven't left making content for apprentices.
Yeah,
I just left Tresham.
You're still producing content for the greatest library on that's come out for the electrical industry possibly ever for learners. I would say no. Is it though, or is it realistic? Like, if let's knuckle down, what's comparable to what you've to GSH YouTube channel? What's comparable? I don't know what's out there that's comparable.
Oh no, there isn't. To be honest, you've got your other guys, your other YouTube spots, but to go into the depth and the description and the attitude and everything towards it in an enclosed works environment, no one can come close to you guys. And that's not blowing smoke up to your house. It's the fact. And I've watched quite a few, and Adam's watched quite a few. There's no comparison between anyone else.
Listen, even the other day, I was like, oh, I need to. I couldn't remember. I can't even remember what it is now. But I was like, I'll just go on GSH because it's going to be on there. Whatever you're stuck on, it's going to be on there. Do you know what I mean?
But again, if you go on the EFIXX Apprentice Hub, which is obviously all of my material that I'd written over the years, there is 20 odd downloadable documents. Some of them are 100 odd pages long. I could only put certain ones on because occasionally I'd lifted a photograph, say, off Google. And obviously I don't own that photograph. So all the stuff on there I've drawn myself. I've got a 5357 practical book for college lecturers that walks them all through the industrial skills. It's got test result sheets. It's got the rec sheets filled in, just needs quantifying against the jobs to try and help them do the 5357, free downloadable. So it's just on there along with the 20 other documents. If people stumble across it as a new lecturer, if you stumbled across it, you'd hopefully go, whoever's done this for me, big thank you, because I haven't got to write 800 pages of notes, Ohm's law, AC theory, transformers, or whatever I've put on there. I've put a lot of stuff on there just to try and, again, just try and help. There's over 1,200 questions that I wrote that are on there that were my ones that were on a Word document that I transferred onto the EFIXX Apprentice Hub, again, just to try and help people out. So I did that early on when I got over there, just because that's what you're doing as a teacher.
Every single apprentice who's got an apprentice 1-to-1, I've referred onto your channel, Gary. I don't think there's a single one, and most of them, to be fair, know of you, obviously, but there was some who didn't, and everything that they're ever going to need is on there. So we've got yourself really stepping up to help apprentices and electricians with all the YouTube content. Nick's doing his thing to demonstrate what you can do as a small employer, building your business with apprentices. Really important key messages that I'm trying to share through Apprentice 1-to-1. And, I'm speaking to a couple of employers actually wanting to do the same as you have, Nick, take people on who they've already got kind of working with them, but not employed with them. It's a difficult step. You've been there recently and done it. I've done it in the past as well. So to see you guys talking about it and to see Gary's channel with all that amazing content on there just to help people is a massive resource. And especially through coronavirus, that's been epic, Gary and Nick.
So the other day we spoke about this, didn't we, Mark? On your podcast. Go and check it out. It needs all the help it could get. Go and check out the Apprentice 1-to-1 podcast. There's some real insightful stuff on there, certainly for myself. Anyway, but we spoke about there isn't a better time to be an apprentice, really. Okay, yes, it's tough because of COVID. A lot of apprentices have been furloughed or lost their apprenticeship and stuff like that. In that respect, it's a pony time. But in the respect of if you want to knuckle down and go and learn your stuff, there is a wealth of content out there, educational content, viewing someone practically doing something content, understanding the theory, like what Nick does very well on his channel, not a lot, but he does very well his theory about how he sort of sets out stuff, and I'm going to put that and there, so this and this. He explains it very well. He explains his thought processes very well, and that's really important for a learner, is understanding why you do what you do before you do it. And
everything's done for a reason.
Just add a little bit in there as well. I get at least two calls a week. Actually, this week I haven't got any banked up. I normally have two people that will ring me over the weekend, and nearly all of them say, I've watched Nick and I've watched Chris. I want to change my career to be an electrician. They're not usually the younger ones, and people have mentioned to me Apprentice 1-to-1's a place to go. But as adults, they've said, I've watched them and it's quite aspirational to see it. And I always say to them, the reality and the videos are different. Laying in a roof space on a hot summer's day and chasing walls out, he's chasing walls out and laying in a roof space. But there's that aspirational element of it. And this links in nicely to something that I brought up on EFIXX, where I said, you can't go to college to become an electrician. And then the following week's Monday Club, you and Amy quite rightly said that you took your route, you did your level 2 and level 3 off your own back. And then I was like, oh, and then you said, Nick, quite rightly again, I suppose people don't call me an electrician the rest of it. And then you clearly then answered the question for me, because you then said, and Amy agreed with you, well, they don't teach you at college to change a consumer unit. You get that experience by working on site in order to become an electrician. And my video that I said, you can't be an electrician going to college, was partly aimed at that you can get the underpinning knowledge and you can maybe take that on with, some sort of work experience and obviously go one way or another. But you hit the nail on the head. You need to be doing it 5 days a week to actually learn your craft. You can't learn your craft at college. You can learn the underpinning knowledge. So I didn't want people to get confused with the two messages. That wasn't a kick at anyone who's took your route, but you quite rightly answered it and said, you have to get the experience, because college won't show you how to lift floorboards, possibly change consumer units and etc. fit downlights or any of that.
Any of it. And like I said, I wasn't digging at the colleges whatsoever in the last one, but I was classed as an electrician and I had the label as electrician. But if I hadn't been doing all the other stuff with the people in the background, I wouldn't be where I was today. I would have done like a few of the other guys that sort of finished the course with me, had no work experience, and they've like completely, one of them works at B&Q. I chat to him all the time. He's a nice lad, and he's got the same qualification as me, but never had the chance to carry on with it.
So Nick, would you be happy if you sat in a pub and you both called yourself electricians? You worked at B&Q. You probably wouldn't, even though he's a nice lad, because he's got the same qualifications as you, but he hasn't got what you need in life, and that's experience. Yeah. The only way to demonstrate you can do something is by gaining experience and then obviously implementing your experience. Yet on paper, you've both got the same qualifications. And my video was designed to be people are getting inspired by you and Chris and others to go and at night to retrain to be an electrician. They love watching your stuff, but they've got to add the actual doing it element in. They can't continue to do their job and think that two certificates at level 2 and level 3 will be an electrician. It's that experience.
And I feel because I've had a hell of a lot of messages from guys saying like, you've what's the word, inspired me to do this. And I've had a lot of messages, and a lot of them I've replied to say like, it's just me pointing at things and being an idiot, but it's nice to see. So I've replied to people, but equally I feel sorry for the people genuinely that are older guys that want to retrain, that they have a mortgage, they have kids, they have overheads, they have all the bills to pay, and no one's giving them a chance to take them on full time. Because if a middle-aged man came to me and said, I've got all these overheads, I want you to train me as your apprentice, but I'm gonna need £15 an hour, as a small business I'd say no, if he has no prior experience whatsoever. But I would love to say yes to give these people a chance, but this is a very difficult situation.
It's kind of listen, it's difficult, because if you're changing career, either you have to accept the rough with the smooth. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're changing career, just because you're older doesn't entitle you automatically to more money. I know. You have to take that on the chin. I did. I know Rick did. Rick worked for apprentice wages with a family of probably 4 at the time or whatever to get through. He did it however he had to do it. And this is what's really important. And I'm not saying people should have to struggle to get their qualifications, but there is a route for anyone to be able to get into the industry. And taking that route is difficult as a grown learner, but you still have to do it. You can go and work at, you might find the right company to go and work for who will pay you that money, or you can go and work on an agency as a labourer, electrician's mate, or labourer as they called, and you can pick up a lot doing it that way. And the more keen you are, the more work will get thrown at you. But again, that's not a great way to learn either. In my opinion, the best way of learning to become an electrician is an apprenticeship. And it's just unarguable.
I agree. I didn't do an apprenticeship, you will know, but I think for what Adam did, like I said a few episodes prior, me and his dad both pushed him into it because it was completely the right route. He had the choice between my route or an apprenticeship with me. Either way, he was going to work with me. He might as well become fully qualified at the end. And I'm over them, and he knows he's done the right thing. But looking at it now, like, I get given is it £2,000 I get for an apprentice a year, isn't it? So I get £1,000 after 6 months and £1,000 after a year, which realistically, I don't know. I just wish that the government would give us more. Not it's for my pocket, not for my benefit, but like a thing what they do at uni, where let's say you get an adult learner and you want to put him straight on £10-15, is for the first year to help you out there's a governing body or a scheme of the government where they would go, right, whatever you pay will match or and cap it to a point, so these adult learners can physically come work and learn and build a trade without compromise of family life and putting added stress, because there's nothing worse. But unfortunately, you could get 100 people do it and the government go, yeah, but then all of a sudden you could probably get 10,000 middle-aged men. When I say middle-aged men, you know what I mean, family, all that sort of stuff. And I just wish there was something in place where the government would help out, because £2,000 goes nowhere. Let's be honest, that's 4 decent tool bags, to be honest.
But the other bonus I would say, sorry, Mark, the other bonus I would say about taking potentially, but not a rule, somebody on who's slightly older, is the fact that maybe they're not like I was at 16, 17 and 18 when I was doing my apprenticeship. I was probably, out a little bit late on certain evenings in the week and maybe a little bit worse for wear on a Monday. You'd like to think if you took on an adult that maybe they'd realise it's a second chance. It's like doing education as an adult, and education's wasted on the youth because they don't know how brilliant it is when they're doing it and when you go back to retrain. So there are slight benefits, I think, if for getting an adult, but you've got the right apprentice as well with Adam, Nick. So you're not seeing what I've seen over the years, which is a lot of apprentices that were less keen, say, maybe than some of the adults that are available.
I have said this as well. If I didn't have Adam, if it was Adam with the wrong attitude, or someone else that just made by and just did what they had to do, I don't think they would still be with me. To be honest, I think I'd have got sick of it. But because he's very, very similar to me, it's just worked so well. But I've also said to him, give it 3 years, mate. If he's still with me, and he will be, to be honest, and I'd happily get him an apprentice. Because if the business is still growing, I don't want to employ loads of people. I want to give apprentices the chance around here. I'd happily get an apprentice that he could then oversee, because he'd be qualified by then. Obviously, I'll be in the background to see him teach the way I taught.
Just a quick one on that. And again, apprenticeship doesn't mean job. So I think sometimes it's actually probably better to say, like, if you keep Adam, which would be great, and take another one on, promises him his apprenticeship or her apprenticeship. Okay, just don't promise them a job. Just say at the end of 3 or 4 years, the likelihood is historically I'm going to let you go, or I'm going to let her go, and you're going to go into the real world and use these skills to better yourself, and I'll take another apprentice on. So you sort of have a conveyor belt of opportunities. But I think too often people think an apprenticeship is a job, and when I did my apprenticeship, they only took on about 2 out of 7 of us. The rest of them they let go, and it was a real heartbreaking moment. You didn't see it coming. You thought, well, we're all going to get jobs, and then only 2 of them did, and the other ones were off into real world. But it in the long run, it did them really good. They've gone on and made a real success of themselves. Where the ones that stayed, like me, that stayed in the apprenticeship, was always the apprentice. So I was always, they didn't take any on after me. So forever I was getting the coffee. I was like 22 years. I'll get the boy to get the coffees. Really? I was like, I'm 22, but you just don't get that grown-up moment. So again, Nick, just something to bear in mind. I'm sure the apprentice 1-to-1 is the same, that offer them an apprenticeship, not a job. At the end of it, if you move them on, you can take another apprentice. So you haven't got to feel that you've got to fill a electrician's post, maybe.
See,
I just wanted to cover the funding aspect that Nick mentioned there, because that was something that we picked up on way back when at the start of Apprentice 1-to-1 with a company called UNO, and they were trying to open up the loans that you can get for going to university for learners entering into the apprenticeship route as well. And they were pushing quite hard with this. I mean, they ended up going off and doing something entirely different and didn't work with Apprentice 1-to-1 at all. But they're trying to get funding for retraining, get funding for apprenticeships, and be that as a route through a loan as the learner yourself, or more grants available for employers, or tax benefits, or whatever it may be. So there is stuff that I think will be coming that can help with that in the future. And like you're referencing with people doing the courses to then become electricians, you know, all routes have validity when they're done correctly. And Nick's done it the right way. No one's disputing that you're a qualified electrician. And I think it's often the people who've been missold these things. So that you're coming out of a normal working job and you don't know anything about the electrical industry like we do, and you genuinely hand over quite a lot of money to train to be an electrician. And then you get to the end of that process expecting to go and get a job on whatever they've told you you'll learn. And it's just not a reality. There's so many people who've come through Apprentice 1-to-1 now saying those things. We need to get experience. We want to go on site. Is there anyone in Apprentice 1-to-1 who'll give us a bit of experience so we can learn these things that we don't really know how to do? And it's those people I feel especially sorry for, because they recognise that the training they've had hasn't really made them electricians.
Yeah.
That was my EFIXX video. College to electrician was really to spin that round. Now, in my experience and other colleges up and down the country, when we do our prospectus, it says the qualification you're going to get and the units you will take. It would never say, and I said in my video, pilot, electrician, therapist, or nurse. It will just say the qualification. Now, what happens is people then launch into the workshop. There's a gentleman in there or a lady in there teaching that might not be a full-time member of staff or might be very keen. And they'll say to them, right, brilliant, we're all here to be electricians. That's what they hear. They signed up for a course that would get them a level 2 or a level 3 sitting guilds, EA or whatever. That's what they paid for. Now, if the college has said you're going to be an electrician at the end of this course, then actually you've got a right to go back to them and say you didn't fulfill your agreement. You said in black and white with the agreement that I signed that I'd be an electrician, a pilot, etc. Somebody came back to me on that and said there are different types of pilots, though, Gary, in my comments, obviously. But again, would you want somebody with a glider's license to be flying a jumbo jet when you're going on holiday? I would suggest probably not. Yeah. So, of course, it comes down to experience in place. So, yeah, it was that. I'd be very surprised if colleges up and down the tree are saying at the end of this course you'd be a chef. They'll tell you the qualification you're going to get. You can take it on to maybe be a chef, but you're not going to be a chef. There's no guarantees of anything, is there?
The other thing is as well with all that, there is no definitive thing there's no nothing in law that says you're an electrician, or there's no official status of electrician. You can go and do a part P, know how to wire up a socket and be an electrician to someone. I know this guy who works locally, nice guy, but he's not an electrician, and mate, some of the stuff he does is insane. I literally
Sam, this ain't a story about you and you using this friend down the street thing, are you, as a cover up for it, is it? No,
yes, it is.
Friend down the street. All right, okay. So it is you. Right, okay, carry on.
Oppose me, Gary. No, I've had to go and fix stuff because he's actually a friend of my brother. Yeah, I had to go and fix it. So there.
Would you turn it on and off again?
Yes, I did. Yes. Oh, it was actually at your mum's house.
Oh, we nearly got through it, lads, didn't we? We nearly got there, didn't we?
There we go.
Well, I like to be ridiculous. What can I say? And so, right, final thoughts time, I think. Or Mark, have you got a hot topic?
Not really, because I've been a bit busy this week, so I haven't had a chance to really think about anything. So no.
Mark,
same. I've been burning wood.
Do you shape that moustache and that goatee yourself, or do you go and get it like trimmed up?
I did this myself, and it's gone wrong, which is why lots of it's vanished this week. I made a bit of a mistake.
Tell you what, Mark. I tell you what. If my hair was actually black, I think we would match. I have the exact same. You know what I'm saying,
Nick.
I was embarrassing.
In a strong wind, your beard would blow off, bro.
I know. The cat licked me yesterday. Half my face went. I went from there.
But Mark, so what? I think the hot topic should be: what brand of razor do you use to get that, or clipper, or male grooming product do you use to get that so detailed, if you like?
I reckon it's cutthroat. I reckon it's a cutthroat, isn't it? It's an old.
No, I reckon it's like one of them brawn things. Like the little ones, the little clippers. Zzz.
You would be right. That's all it is,
mate. You've done an excellent job. It's perfectly symmetrical. Well done. Sam's been right on one today, haven't I? Let's be fair.
Yeah, brilliant.
I've offended everyone, even Gary to a certain extent.
Never offend me.
Gary, what's have you got any EFIXX news? Any exclusives you want to drop on us?
Oh, any exclusives? CPDs, they're out. We've got 6 and 2 more pending. For them, we're going to try and do probably another 30 this year. They're free. You go into the EFIXX know-how tab, and they're all affiliated by CPD. There is actually a company called CPD, and if you complete a CPD, which is watch a video of Joe and answer some questions, that's nice and straightforward, you get 1 hour of accredited CPD. So if you're trying to build a CPD folder for work, etc., maybe for NAPIT when they come out and they say to you, your assessment, how you continued your professional development, Nick, you could maybe flourish them out with a few certificates, and there's some really good ones on there. That is that is again quietly powerful, that sits in the background, that puts us both back to our teaching environment. So the EFIXX Apprentice Hub and the know-how tab, which gives you the free CPDs, are where me and Joe came from, and I think that's our biggest input really into the EFIXX adventure.
And when is, I know it's a bit of an open-ended question, have you got any EFIXX lives coming this year?
No, I would suggest there was lots of things I wanted to do live that we couldn't, and I wouldn't take the risk. Again, you know, our background's apprenticeship, so I would have liked to have done something with those, and again, it's too much of a risk to do. I think if you watch the 2 weekly live stream we do, that's going to eventually, hopefully, be done in front of a live studio audience. So that'll be party night for us then afterwards. So nice. There's a balcony going in the unit right under where we do our ingots. They're just down there where we. Oh, I haven't said that, have I? I'm just started doing them. So there's gonna be a balcony up there, a bit like Tier 5 Friday. So I want to start at the balcony. I want my cue cards. I want to come down out the balcony. Cameras follow me down, and I want to go straight into my live streams twice a week and have an audience up there. Hopefully, it'll be friends and family the first time around when we do it. It'll be a little way off, and then it'll be invited guests, and then we'll all go out on the Raz in Skipton. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, how come?
Yeah, good man. I'm coming to you first. I'm bringing Vienna.
Well,
hopefully,
yeah.
But if that tour's too late in the year, we might have to come up at a different time. I'd love to come up. So yeah, so
anytime, mate.
Bits like that. And again, we've got another Gary's Swap Shop. If you watch our live streams, it's actually
I've watched the Swap Shop.
It's ripping off anything in the 90s or the 80s. So we had the tool from above, which was like the dove from above. We've got the tool wall, which is similar to the cool wall that we had on Top Gear. We've got points of view. We've got regulation corner, which is a Mickey take, and we've got the news at Penn. And what else have we got? Gary's Swap Shop as little, vignettes, really, just things that I liked as a kid. So the cue cards will come because that's Tier 5 Friday. So I'll be able to throw them out to Will, wasn't it? His assistant was Will on Tier 5 Friday. So I'll be bunging that.
I have no idea what Tier 5 Friday is.
Oh, dear. It's a generational thing. So sorry.
I tell you what, I watched the live stream the other day when you had Gifford's mug in it.
Yes.
And so I was the proud owner of 2 Gifford mugs over the weekend, and now I'm the proud owner of just 1.
I'm terrible for breaking stuff as well. So I've got Jones as a spare.
Picked it up to record earlier, and I opened them up, and I just cleaned the unit. I made a brew, and I was like, "Oh, here we go, everyone! Got my GoPro out. This is from Gifford. I call him Clifford, and this is Clifford's mug, and it's all right." And I turned around, and as I turned around, I clicked it on the wall. I dropped it. I got it all on camera and just smashed everywhere. And I was like, "Oh, that's all right. That was Adam's one." But yeah, so I'm not editing the footage yet, so we'll see how bad it looks. But it went everywhere.
Cool story. I suppose you had to be there, right?
Yeah, that one got me. That one got me. Yeah.
I've been waiting. I waited for that whole story before. But I was going to say it no matter, even if it was a cool story. So whatever. Cool. Right. I feel like we've come to the end. So we've had the legend Gary on tonight.
Thank you, Gary.
Monday Club. We're out.